3 years, we really haven't seen her go through too many struggles at all. But what have you seen from her the last couple of meets, and how difficult is it? I mean, mentally, just going from, when you're maybe performing the all around every meet to then only performing one or two routines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, that's exactly what she's struggling with. Her confidence is impacted a little bit just going from, being the star of the program and only being on one or two events. And she's still training all four events and working really hard. And to be honest, she's been looking really good in practice, but that competition, she's feeling the pressure. And so we're working through it. We're having a lot of conversation with her. We're helping her kind of focus in on that mindset and practice, build up those pressure moments so she can kind of train mentally, just as much as she's training physically. And, we're hopeful that she can get back to what we know she can do. And what we know she can do is that solid 9.995 on any given event. And, this is a new territory. She's never approached before. And we recognize that. The thing that I've really noticed about Kennedy is that she's not let down. She's working to figure it out. She's recognizing that we've got to do things a little differently. And I'm really proud of that. But we're helping her through it.
And then with LSU coming to town, they obviously have a few gymnasts who have really thrived off NIL the last couple of years, especially on social media and TikTok and Instagram and different stuff like that. Since NIL has really come into play the last couple of years, just wanted to see what your opinion was, especially because gymnastics has really become, I'd say, one of the most popular sports, regarding NIL. So just what have you seen the last couple of years, and how much do you guys talk about the opportunities for all your gymnasts outside of the meets?
Mm-hmm. I think for our sport in particular with gymnastics, NIL has been really amazing. Just given the nature of our sport where, you don't really go through 4 years of college gymnastics and then try for an Olympics. That's not typical. It's not impossible. And people have done it before, but it's just not typical. And I think now that athletes have the opportunity to both compete at the elite level and do these international competitions and do NIL stuff and compete in college gymnastics all at the same time, it's a really awesome opportunity. And then you're kind of seeing the other side of it with someone like LSU gymnast Livy Dunn and just her fame on TikTok. And I think it's amazing. I think the popularity of our sport is growing. More eyes are on gymnastics than ever before. What an exciting time to be a part of the sport. And I will say for our sport specifically, I think it's amazing these athletes have the opportunity to embrace NIL, both from a money-making standpoint, and they can do things now they weren't able to do before. With our team specifically, they're able to champion a lot of charities and do a lot of philanthropic work. They love doing that. That's part of who they are in their hearts. Really, really cool, as well as some of the brand deals and sponsorships and things like that. So we talk about a lot as a team. That's something I've lived since I was 15, 16 years old. And so I do get a lot of questions from the athletes asking for advice or with contracts or things like that, where I just kind of advise them, hey, here's what I would do, or here's what I suggest you do, but getting them to think really smart about it and really intentional. How great is it that they get to kind of practice being business women, even at this age?
Thanks, Jordyn.
Tom, go ahead.
Hey, Jordyn, the snow last night, is that going to impact practice for you guys this week?
I don't think so. We actually have Wednesdays off normally. So the snow fell on the perfect day for us.
Okay.
I'm actually really glad that our athletes got the day off of school because they get to have a full day off, which is very rare for student athletes.
Okay. And then, I don't know how gratifying was it that you guys started on bars last week and you did well. Mm-hmm. And maybe now you have the beam to conquer. Just what do you think about maybe the direction you're going right now?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good about the direction we're going. And I told the team, I do think we're right on track. We're experiencing some little moments where nerves are getting to us. And that's, to be honest, with the number of young ones we have in the lineup, it doesn't shock me. And we talked about, while the freshmen are, maybe opening the door with a mistake while they're learning how to handle the pressure, our older ones need to be able to come in and handle their positions in the lineup and be those veterans and just do normal in those spots. So that was one of the bigger conversations we had as a team. As a coach, I was very intentional last week to not go in the gym and say, we got to fix this problem on bars, because to be honest, we didn't have a problem on bars. We've been looking really great in practice. We have a really talented bar lineup. And so we just dialed in on the mental toughness and dealing with pressure and not letting one mistake turn into another mistake. And we saw that again on balance beam, and we're going to, approach it the same way. Like, we've just got to continue to get more mentally tough and feel like if there's a mistake in the lineup, which there are oftentimes going to be, how do we just go up and say, you know what, I'm just going to do my normal and not try to make up for the mistake, because that's kind of your natural instinct when you're going up after mistake. You go, okay, I got to be extra perfect now, especially on an event like beam. And we let the nerves get to us a little bit. So that's going to be the focus for this week, is just putting 4 events together and doing normal from start to finish, and not being a 3-event team, but being a 4-event team.
Gotcha. Well, Cammie, kind of solidified things though on the beam. What'd you think of her last week?
Just so incredible. Just what fierceness on that event. That's honestly how she is all the time. She's just a beamer, and she loves it. She's like already smiling before she finishes her skills, because she just knows the skills are going to be there. And I love that about her. And she's a sophomore, but competitively she's a freshman. And I think the way she handled that position and just turned it around for the team was really incredible.
Okay. And then my last thing, you mentioned the very first Zoom we had this year about Kennedy and the leg events.
Mm-hmm.
Is she got something happening with one of her legs?
No, she doesn't have any injuries or anything like that. We're just working hard to get her skills back to where they're competitive. And, I've talked a lot about our depth and our competitiveness in the lineups. And on an event like floor, where she's training full routines on floor, it's tough to make this floor lineup. We've got more difficulty and more athletes ready to go and have great score potential than we've ever had before. So doesn't have any injuries. She's still fully training all of those events. And right now she could be competing vault. She could be doing a full, but we're working hard to get that 1.5 back. And I expect it to be back by the end of the season.
All right, Courtney, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, I know we kind of talked a little bit about Livy Dunn and the impact she's had on kind of college athletics as a whole and gymnastics, but I'm sure you're preparing the team to have a bigger crowd on Friday night because of who she is and how many people know her, and a bit of being a celebrity here. How are you kind of talking with them about that? I know they've dealt with the spotlight before, but there's going to be a lot of people there Friday night.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't specifically talked about Livy, to be honest. Our team knows that when fans show up, they're excited to see Arkansas gymnastics, and they're excited to cheer on both teams. And that's kind of the culture of our sport. It's, I think that they get fired up with a bigger crowd. It's not something that they shy away from or get more nervous about. And I think we saw that at Auburn. It was a really intense environment, especially starting on bars with the student section about 3 feet away. So they thrive off of that. I think, at the end of the day, these fans are going to come out, and whether they're showing up for Livy, they're going to see that our team is incredible, and they're going to want to come back. And a week from now, we'll be setting up Bud Walton Arena for our next meet. And I'm really excited to get more fans in there, but I'm excited for them to see just what these athletes can do and how incredible they are as people and as athletes, so that they'll want to come back. And that's just the process of continuing to build this fan base that we have.
Perfect. And one more for me. Nora had a great meet as well last week. What has she added to this team this year? How much has she impacted you guys as a whole, not just with her performances, but coming into this team as a transfer, and what has she been able to do?
Yeah. I mean, she brings so many different qualities. I mean, first and foremost, just her gymnastics and just her ability to go up and do her very best under the most intense pressure. She thrives on the competition, and that's why she does so well with those anchor positions. No matter what, she's going to go up and go big and go for her highest score potential, which I love. I think that's a great example for our team. And also, every single day, she operates with so much integrity and so much intention as a person and as an athlete. So she's a leader in that way. And she's also finding little spots that she can mentor the younger ones. Our freshmen are like attached at the hip with Nora. They love her. And I think it's because she's both a good friend to them and also a good teammate. She's holding them accountable and being a great leader. And so I can go on and on about all the positive things she's brought to the program, but we're just so grateful that she's here and she's having a great time and she's thriving as well, which makes me really happy.
Thanks, Coach.
Anyone?
Jordyn, I'm curious in a big picture question. Do you go into a week with a pretty good idea who's going to be in your lineups, or does that change a lot based on what happens in practice? And speaking of depth, is there ever a time where maybe there's a gymnast a little bit behind others, but you're willing to put her in the lineup just to see what you might be able to do?
Yeah, to be honest, it's a combination of both. We sort of have our ideas of who we think is going to give us the best score potential, but then obviously we're watching in practice to see how they're looking, what their consistency is like, mentally how they're handling the week. So we take all of that into account when we're choosing the lineups. And, a great example this week is floor. We had a practice yesterday and I saw at least 4 athletes who are ready to go on floor that have not competed a lot so far this season. And so that's one lineup that, we might mix up a little bit this weekend and give some athletes an opportunity who are fully ready. And, maybe there's opportunity to take somebody like Nora and rest her on floor so she can be ready to go for the all around in Bud Walton next week. So that's really exciting. And that's, they're continuing to push. They're so motivated, even if they're not competing yet, they're motivated to not just get a lineup spot, but be ready if their team needs them, if they're called upon. And what a great quality of a team. I think that's just really positive.
Any more questions for Coach Porter? You have a question?
Yes, I just wanted to ask about Lauren. You were talking about preseason, about giving these freshmen a little bit of chance when you played Nebraska. You went up against Nebraska. And just the big surprise of her, was somebody that you kind of knew that could get in the starting rotation, or was this somebody you gave an opportunity and they've just made the best of the opportunity given?
For Lauren specifically, we knew we wanted to put her in on floor and vault for the whole season because she obviously got the 10-0 start value vault. It's really consistent. I think she's a little underscored at Auburn. I thought she deserved a 9.9, but that's just me. But she's got the full package on floor. She's a great performer, huge tumbling, really engaging. So those are 2 that we kind of knew. The one event that's really positively surprised us is beam. She competed in Nebraska on beam, didn't do quite her best routine, but she's been the alternate the last 2 weeks and she's fighting for a spot in that lineup if we need her. So we might see her come in and out of the beam lineup here and there. But yeah, we sort of have our ideas of where we see them, and sometimes they surprise us if we give them the opportunity, and not this weekend, but in future meets, and we have exhibition opportunities where they can go 7th in the lineup and get a score, but it doesn't count towards the team score. That's another great option that we have for these young ones, to put them out there and give them an opportunity to prove what they might be able to bring to the table.
And last one, still talking about Lauren, is just the impact of the meet next weekend and her success. What do you think that might do to bring some extra fans into the crowd, because that, she's having success being that hometown girl?
Yeah, it's just really cool. I know she's got a lot of teammates and family and fans in the area who are excited to see her. There's a local club meet this weekend that one of the local gyms is hosting. I know we're going to get a lot of young fans coming who are competing at that meet. But it's really inspirational, I think, over anything for everyone, not just in the country, but especially locally, to see Lauren doing really well. She's just a ray of sunshine, and she's like that every single day in the gym. She never has a bad attitude. She's always willing to work hard and put in the extra effort, which is why she's having success in competition. It's because she is so consistent. And I love that. I'm so excited to see her thriving.
And do you think that is a little bit of being a home state kid? Just, it gives a little bit more pride. You see it in other sports that they put on that Arkansas uniform and it means a little bit more to them because they are from the state.
I think maybe you'd have to ask Lauren. I think she's just really proud to be representing not just the school, but just the local community. And she's lived here her whole life. And I'm sure she grew up watching Arkansas gymnastics. And I think to be living that reality and living that dream for her is really, really special. I'm sure that's a great motivator for her, and it makes her want to do even better.
Thank you. That's all I got.
Any more questions for Coach? All right. Well, if we have any of you coming to the meet on Friday, we will see you then. Otherwise, we'll be back here next week for availability, but appreciate everybody being here and have a good rest of the day. Stay safe.
Thanks, Jordyn.
Yeah.